The New York Knicks shook the NBA when they pulled off a blockbuster trade for Karl-Anthony Towns. At the time, critics called it a gamble, giving up key assets for a star whose playoff resume was thinner than a New York pizza slice. Some even said the Knicks were setting themselves up for disaster.
A blockbuster Friday night trade, as The Athletic reports that the New York Knicks have agreed to a deal to acquire Karl-Anthony Towns from the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Knicks will be sending back a package that includes Julius Randle and Donte DiVincenzo. Towns.
Fast forward to today, and that gamble has paid off. The Knicks are thriving, sitting pretty as the third seed in the East, with Cat playing the best basketball of his life. Meanwhile, the Timberwolves, who were hoping to build a stronger core around Anthony Edwards, are struggling to find their footing, sitting at 7th in the West and searching for answers. So how did the Knicks come out as clear winners of this trade? What impact has KAT had on the team's success? And why are the Timberwolves struggling to pick up the pieces? Join us as we break everything down.
Towns drives, lost it, got it back, falling away, got it! 30.
For nearly a decade, Karl-Anthony Towns was supposed to be the guy for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Drafted first overall in 2015, he was seen as the franchise's savior, a generational big man who could dominate inside while stretching the floor like a guard, and individually, he delivered. Rookie of the Year, multiple All-Star selections, elite scoring numbers, but team success, that was another story. Minnesota finally broke its playoff drought in 2018, thanks to Jimmy Butler, but that relationship crashed and burned faster than a Timberwolves fast break, leaving Towns to carry the load once again.
Jones to Butler to Towns. Don't look at him. Don't look.
The front office tried to build around him, trading for his best friend D'Angelo Russell and later adding Rudy Gobert, but nothing truly clicked. The 2023-24 season saw Anthony Edwards emerge as the Wolves' primary star, and with salary cap concerns mounting, Minnesota was stuck between a cat and a hard place. Then on October 2nd, 2024, the NBA landscape shifted. In a way few saw coming, the NY Knicks, a team desperate to elevate themselves into true contender status, pulled off a blockbuster deal, landing Karl-Anthony Towns from the Minnesota Timberwolves. The trade involved a 3-team deal involving the Knicks, Timberwolves, and Hornets. The Knicks landed Karl-Anthony Towns and the draft rights to James Nnaji, a young, promising center. In exchange, Minnesota received Julius Randle, Donte DiVincenzo, Keita Bates-Diop, and a protected 2025 first-round pick from Detroit via the Knicks. The Hornets played facilitator, taking on contracts and securing some second-round picks in return. As soon as the deal dropped, NBA Twitter exploded. Knicks fans were split, some ecstatic about acquiring a bona fide all-star, others hesitant about giving up Randle, a player who had been the heart and soul of the team for years. They said Leon Rose was crazy. They said the Knicks were mortgaging their future. They said Karl-Anthony Towns was just another big-name star who'd wilt under the Madison Square Garden spotlight. Analysts debated whether Towns would truly fit into Tom Thibodeau's system, and whether he had the mentality to thrive under New York's intense demands. Meanwhile, Timberwolves fans were left wondering if their team had just cashed out too early on a generational offensive talent. But this trade wasn't just about fit, it was more about vision. For the Knicks, Towns was the missing piece, the floor-stretching big they'd been searching for since Kristaps Porzingis packed his bags. An elite scoring big man who could stretch the floor, provide versatility, and take pressure off Jalen Brunson. For Minnesota, this was about handing the franchise keys to Anthony Edwards, their rising superstar. They believed Randle and DiVincenzo could keep them competitive, while the extra draft pick gave them future flexibility. But now, months later, it's painfully clear. New York got exactly what they needed, and Minnesota, not so much.
Shot clock down to 5. Here's Towns from 3. It's good!
Karl-Anthony Towns in New York has been nothing short of a revelation, averaging 24.8 points per game on an efficient 53.2% from the field and 43.2% from deep. He's provided the offensive firepower the Knicks were missing. His ability to space the floor has opened up driving lanes for Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges, making the Knicks offense more dynamic and unpredictable. With Towns stretching defenses and commanding double teams, New York has skyrocketed to 2nd in the league in offensive rating, something that seemed unthinkable a year ago. But perhaps the biggest surprise has been his commitment on the defensive end. Towns has long been criticized for his defense, but under Tom Thibodeau's, a man who would bench his own mother for missing a defensive rotation, Cat has been showing real improvement. He's averaging a career-high 13.5 rebounds per game, making the Knicks a far stronger team on the glass. His positioning and effort have been more consistent, and while he'll never be a lockdown defender, his ability to hold his own in the paint has helped New York solidify itself as one of the tougher teams to score on inside. And beyond the stats, Towns has embraced a leadership role. The chemistry between him and Brunson has been electric, especially in the pick and roll, where they've become one of the most effective duos in the league. And perhaps most importantly, he's proving that he can handle the New York spotlight. Unlike in Minnesota, where expectations were often tempered, Madison Square Garden demands greatness, and Cat is answering the call.
He's 1 for 8 still without a shot there. Towns inside, banks it in.
The Knicks are now 37-20, sitting third in the East, trailing only the Celtics and Cavaliers, and looking like a team that's finally ready to make a deep playoff run. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, things aren't going quite as planned. The expectation was that shifting fully to Anthony Edwards as the centerpiece would allow the team to take the next step, but the absence of Towns has been more damaging than anticipated. Without Towns' scoring and floor spacing ability, the Wolves' offense has taken a hit. Anthony Edwards has been forced to carry an even heavier load, facing constant double teams and tougher defensive matchups. The team lacks a true secondary scorer who can take pressure off him in key moments, and it shows. Minnesota's offensive efficiency has dropped, and their half-court sets have become far more predictable. Spacing has also become a serious issue. With Rudy Gobert clogging the paint, the Wolves have struggled to create driving lanes. Opposing defenses are packing the interior, daring their shooters to beat them from deep. Without Towns' ability to stretch the floor, the offense often feels cramped, making it harder for Edwards to attack the rim or create open looks for teammates. Minnesota hoped that bringing in Julius Randle would help replace Towns' scoring, but the fit has been awkward. Randle thrives with the ball in his hands, but so does Edwards, and the two have yet to develop strong chemistry. Unlike Towns, who could operate as a secondary scorer without disrupting flow, Randle's style has at times stalled the offense, leading to inefficient possessions and frustration.
Blocked by Edwards. Ant doing everything. Off to the races. Heat check. No.
For a team that expected to be a top 4 seed, hovering around 7th place isn't exactly the dream. Back in New York, the Knicks have transformed into a legitimate force in the East, with a record of 37-20, trailing only the Cleveland Cavaliers 47-10 and the Boston Celtics 41-16. This impressive standing is a testament to the seamless integration of their star trio: Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, and Mikal Bridges. Offensively, the Knicks have become a powerhouse, averaging 117.9 points per game, which ranks 5th in the league. Their offensive rating stands at 120.2, placing them 3rd among all teams, a surge largely attributed to Towns' remarkable performance. Brunson also complements this with 25.9 points and 7.4 assists per game, while Bridges adds 17.5 points, showcasing the team's balanced scoring attack. Defensively, the Knicks allow 113.1 points per game, ranking 15th in the league. Their defensive rating is 115.3, placing them 21st. While there's room for improvement on this end, the team's net rating of plus 4.9 reflects their overall efficiency and competitiveness.
Neesmith to Toppin. Toppin down a lane. Scoop layup blocked by Hart, and the save.
Under Tom Thibodeau, they're on pace for their best season since 1997. This resurgence is not only due to the star power of Towns, Brunson, and Bridges, but also the invaluable contributions of players like Josh Hart. Towns may be the headline grabber, but Hart is the glue guy. His defensive tenacity, versatility, and unselfish play have been instrumental in the team's success, often doing the gritty work that wins games. As we look at where both teams stand now, the contrast couldn't be clearer. The Knicks are positioned as legitimate contenders in the East, with a foundation built for sustained success. Meanwhile, the Timberwolves are left searching for answers. Their current roster, while still talented, lacks the structure and cohesion needed to compete at the highest level. So where do they go from here? Anthony Edwards is a superstar, no doubt, but can he do it alone? The Wolves need to make serious moves in free agency and the draft. If they don't, this trade could be remembered as the moment they fumbled their championship window.
Bridges drives, brings it across the lane, up top to Towns. Towns fires away. Bang!
Karl-Anthony Towns.
Right now, the results speak for themselves. The Knicks took a gamble, and it paid off. Karl-Anthony Towns has given them the star power they needed. Jalen Brunson continues to lead with poise, and they look like a team built to win now and in the future. The Wolves, they're stuck in the middle of the Western Conference, struggling for consistency. What once looked like a fair trade now looks like an absolute steal for New York. What do you think? Do you think the Knicks have what it takes to make a deep playoff run? Could they challenge Boston and Cleveland when it matters most? Or did the Timberwolves make the right move by letting Cat go? Drop your hottest takes in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're always bringing you the biggest NBA stories and in-depth analysis you won't find anywhere else. And while you're at it, smash that bell icon so you never miss an update. With the NBA evolving every day, you'll want to stay locked in. See you in the next one.